Blue sky.
Some people think nature is like this, but actually, it's like this. Mother Nature's not all sunshine and rainbows. Nature can be hotter than a sauna and colder than an Arctic skinny dip. That's why Columbia engineers everything we make for anything nature can throw at you. Columbia, engineered for whatever.
Hey, Olivia from Ollie here to help you ease into all things back to school. Homework, meal prep, and pickup duty piling up? Goodbye Stress Gummies help you keep your cool. Start the day with Kids Multi and Probiotic for digestive and immune system health. They'll love to take them, and that makes mornings easier. When back to school gets real, Ollie helps you deal. Find these and more at ollie.com or retailers nationwide. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Podcasts follow us everywhere. Whether you're cooking in the kitchen, chilling in the living room, or pretending to fold laundry in the bedroom. And with Wayfair, every one of those rooms can tell a story of its own. Their curated collections of furniture styles and prices make Wayfair the trusted destination to turn your home into your happy place. Shop everything home at wayfair.com with free and easy delivery straight to your door.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Ford Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving takes the work out of being behind the wheel, allowing you to relax and reconnect, while also staying in control. Enjoy the drive in Blue Cruise-enabled vehicles like the F-150, Explorer, and Mustang Mach-E. Available feature on equipped vehicles. Terms apply. Does not replace safe driving. See Ford.com/Blue Cruise for more details.
Dude, how long have you been playing fantasy basketball?
Fantasy basketball, probably year number 7. Fantasy football, this will probably be year 11 or 12.
Hey, you a young buck in this game.
How long you been playing them?
Shit, I've been playing fantasy football over 20 years. Basketball.
20 years?
Oh, yeah. The first league I played in was an NFL.com league. And that was like, put it like this. Maurice Jones-Drew was still a top player in the league.
Yeah, that's definitely a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a minute ago.
I looked up old fantasy stuff, and Maurice Jones-Drew was a dog in fantasy football. A tier 1 running back.
Dog. And this is how long ago that was. What was his teammate Fred Taylor?
He replaced Fred Taylor. You know what, they did play together for like the first couple years, but then MJD took off. I want to say Fred Taylor went to Buffalo.
I think that's right.
Was he the one that ran over Chris Conte in that infamous Bills-Bears game? He the one that stiff-armed him into hell?
Don't tell. Chris Conte, no. Fred Taylor couldn't have still been in the league by the end. Please don't tell me that.
I think old-ass Fred Taylor did that to him.
Come on, Chris. You got to stop. You got to stand up for yourself at least once. I can't keep defending you if, stuff like that happens.
You should never be defending Chris Conte.
Listen, that year, we getting off track, but that year where, everybody learned his name for good or for worse, the defense had an issue. Remember that second year with Trestman? Defense sucked. They couldn't tackle. They didn't run out. They didn't run plays out. It was a bad performance for Bears defense. There was only one player that had some heart. Unfortunately, that one player was always getting thrown in the dirt, and that's your boy Conte. That's why I give him some slack. I cut him some slack. At least he had heart. Everybody else quit.
Everybody did quit. I give you that. Briggs is ready to retire. He missed Urlacher.
Yeah, man. Everybody was revolted on Trestman, man. That was crazy. In 1 year. But I asked you about fantasy basketball because football has always been king, especially in fantasy sports. Well, let me not say always because fantasy baseball kicked this thing off. But when I first started playing fantasy basketball, you had to wait for your stats to update. It wasn't like real time as you see now,
Yeah,
especially with football. Football as long as I've been playing, has been real time updates of the scores. But fantasy basketball, you had to wait till the next day to get your updates. It was back when newspapers was still a thing. That's how ancient this thing go back.
man, the group chats must have been lit. Group chats had to be lit with shit talking. I probably whooped your ass. No, I definitely whooped your ass. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like, man, wait till that update at 6 a.m. I bet you I'm on your ass. I bet you. That's how you know you got a problem. You get up at 6 a.m. to check scores, just so you can verify the shit talking.
Get up at 3 a.m. to check if my waiver went through. So I know I got a problem.
Fantasy is a drug. Better yet, that's what this is, man. That's waiting on these because we don't have boots on the ground. We're not at these Bears practices. So that's how it feels to me, waiting for the updates. Like, dang, it happened 3 hours ago. Where's all the updates? Where's everybody? Waddle and Sylvie, where are they at with the updates? I need to know.
Waddle and Sylvie, they need to be on 24 hours.
Right.
I need Waddle and Sylvie to do 24 hours.
Hodge and Johns. I need you all's updates a lot quicker. I need it. I need the Bears updates in my veins. That's how this feels right now, Q. So it's a good thing. It's one thing bad because we're addicted. We're obviously degenerates, right? Two,
Clearly.
football is back.
Thank God. Bless America.
Mm-hmm. Let's not go too far with that. Let's not go too far. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's probably a good idea. You probably should say that louder because it's how you stay off the deport list.
Don't want to wake up in El Salvador prison or in an ICE camp.
Or Sudan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sudan used to be a cool place. Thanks a lot, Obama. But we ain't gonna go that far. We ain't gonna do all that. We ain't gonna do that today. With football being back, there's also the hyper analysis of injuries and as the world turns with a position battle. But that's where we are right now. We're degenerates. We're addicted to this thing. Injuries, man. Coaches ain't got to be truthful about what's going on with their players, how injured they are, anything like that. Just reading between the lines, we figured Jalen Johnson will be available. None during the preseason. And it's getting kind of suspicious, like, okay, is he going to be available week 1? Now, add Kyler Gordon to that. Kyler Gordon is dealing with some type of leg injury we think is a hamstring. And if it is a hamstring, that's concerning because Kyler Gordon has had hamstring issues in the past, bro. That's one of your favorite players, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, over under 6.5, your worries for the Bears starting 2 backup corners week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings.
I'm at about a 7. I'm definitely concerned. Like you said, Kyler Gordon has had hamstring injuries before. This sounds like another hamstring injury. He's missed time during the regular season for hamstring injuries. I don't know if you ever had a hamstring injury, but it's tricky. You know, when you first heard it, depending on how severe it is, because I hurt mine, partially tore mine's sophomore year, college and track. It hurts to even walk on it. Then a couple days later, you're able to walk. And then you want to see if you can stretch it out and maybe do a little jog. And then you realize it's nowhere near ready. Think about hamstring injuries. You could be walking pain-free. But as soon as you try a trot, you feel it. It's tight. It's painful. It's just nowhere near ready. Even when they heal, they're weak now. You're not able to accelerate at your best. You don't have your best speed. So anytime you see a corner who has to make sudden changes, to keep up with a wide receiver, wide receivers already know where they're going. They can kind of, I don't want to say run half speed, but they know when to turn it on. A corner, you got to stop at you know, at a dime. You got to stay with the wide receiver. It's very concerning that Kyler Gordon has an injury. It's very concerning Jalen Johnson has an injury. What's concerning me for Kyler Gordon is, I mean, I can't confirm this because the Bears have been kind of mum on both, but one of the Bears insiders almost made it sound like Jalen Johnson was a stronger possibility for week one than Kyler Gordon. And Jalen Johnson is no lock for week one.
That's
This is
crazy.
stuff this is stuff you don't want to hear because you don't want to go into Minnesota week one facing Justin Jefferson, who lines up in a slot a lot and who lines up outside. And basically, you're telling me he's going to be facing Josh Blackwell and Nashawn Wright. No disrespect to neither one of them, but they're not Kyler Gordon and they're not Jalen Johnson. Arguably, the two best players in our secondary. Arguably.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and the best selection of Goodyear tires. Go to TireRack.com to see their Goodyear test results, tire ratings, and reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
Who's more important for that game? They're already going to be down Jordan Addison, right? But Naylor, as you pointed out in the previous episode, Naylor ain't no punk either, and we obviously know Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is one of the best wide receivers in the game, if not the best. If we can only have one of them cornerbacks available, it's Jalen Johnson, right?
You know what? Funny thing is, with the way Dennis Allen was using Kyler Gordon and going up against a young quarterback, I actually think Gordon might be most important. As far as I think the best thing to throw at J.J. McCarthy is to blitzes, disguise coverages. Kyler Gordon's going to be playing a lot in that box. He's going to be playing a lot towards the line of scrimmage. With his speed and with his knack for blitzing and timing blitzes, that could be very, disruptive to a young quarterback. I almost want to say Kyler Gordon is as important, if not maybe more important, for Jalen Johnson. Because I feel like Justin Jefferson, the thing about Justin Jefferson is one of the last times we saw him move all over the formation. Unless Jalen Johnson is going to be trailing him, shadowing him, Jalen Johnson, well, under previous defense, he typically lined up on one side of the field. So I kind of feel like Kyler Gordon is going to be more important just for the fact that the Vikings are also creative in how they deploy Justin Jefferson. He moves along the formation. He might be at X on one play. He might be at Z, or he might be in a slot. They're going to move him around to give him the most favorable matchup. So I almost feel like Kyler Gordon is the most important.
That's a terrible question to ask myself because from everything we assume of how Dennis Allen wants to play this Bears defense, it's going to be a pressure-packed game, right? Especially against a rookie quarterback, like you said. So that leaves a lot of people on islands. So if that's the case, Jalen's got to travel. And if I want anybody to travel, I definitely want it to be Jalen because I'm curious to see how he performs in that situation. Under previous regimes, as you pointed out, Jalen's been relegated to a pretty much drop coverage, cover three type of guy, a one side of the field type of corner. Which I'm not saying that as a pejorative because he's very good at what he does.
Yeah.
But if I am curious to see how he does as in a traditional, I'm gonna lock you down island type corner. I travel with you. And he's a bigger type of corner. Justin, you like that type of matchup against big wide receivers. But however, Kyler Gordon, for his penchant to get in the backfield and cause havoc, his penchant to put his nose into somebody's chest, coming around that bend, a running back coming around that bend. Those are things that you can't replicate out of anybody else. He's just got a knack for big hit stick plays. Him and Jaquan Brisker being on the field together. Well, that type of violence changes the whole attitude of an offense. Once you get hit once, you decide like, I'm not for that. I'm not for it today. This is a week 1. That's more of a week 5 type hit. I'm not for that right now. You remember that Super Bowl, the Seahawks and the Broncos. Cam Chancellor ended the game in the first quarter when he laid out Demaryius Thomas. You remember that hit? That's the type of stuff I'm talking about.
I also
when
remember
he laid him out, ended that game.
Was that Cam Chancellor who rocked Vernon Davis too? Was that in the same?
Yes, it
run?
was.
Okay. Yeah, he ended a lot of games with his impact.
Mm-hmm.
We love at this podcast. We love hard hitting safeties and DBs. Shout out to Bob Sanders. Shout out to Mike Brown. Two of the best to ever do it this century. Just didn't get to stay healthy to etch their names in the Hall of Fame. I have no doubt those two would have been Hall of Famers if injuries didn't affect their careers.
It's an argument that Bob Sanders should be in the Hall of Fame, but
I saw that, and
that's me. That's me for that.
I didn't remember. I had to look up some of his accomplishments for a short career. Man, was he dominant? Defensive player of the year. I forgot he got a defensive player of the year. Not finishing the top 3.
He was DPOY the year they won the Super Bowl.
And he didn't play a whole year that year. I think he played 14 games or 12 games and won a DPOY. But man, was he a weapon in the box and in coverage.
Mm-hmm. Those are dogs. As we're talking about the week that was in practice, everybody's favorite talking point, Caleb Williams. I think he had a great practice this week. Leading up to this joint practice, which we'll talk about in a second, has been showing that he's getting it. Everything that I'm hearing, he's helping guys get lined up. He's showing a command of the offense that you will want from like a guy that's had multiple years in the same offense. A guy like Josh Allen, that everybody's going to talk about, that type of command of the offense. So, and that's next level. That's what you want to see. You don't want it ain't necessarily the plays you make, the touchdowns you throw. It's the understanding of everybody's responsibilities and knowing how to get everybody else checked in. That's the leader of the offense. That's why quarterbacks cost as much as they do.
Yeah, as far as Caleb's talent, it's undeniable. But as you said, getting people lined up correctly, keeping the offense moving, being the leader. You see that in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts isn't the most talented thrower at all. I mean, just arm ability and accuracy. I wouldn't rate him anywhere near the top half of starting quarterbacks in this league. But he's a leader. He makes timely plays.
Mm-hmm.
He gets people lined up. He has an understanding of his offense, command of his offense. That was one of the biggest things in Jared Goff returning to a franchise quarterback in Detroit. Understanding the nuances. That's what we really need out of Caleb. For all the background noise and all the hoopla, it's going to be Caleb learning the nuances of this offense and the game. That's where he's going to ascend to the elite quarterback that we expect him to be.
The other bullet point, if Caleb is the national lightning rod for the Bears of what they got going on, more of the local fervor of what the Bears got going on is the left tackle situation. That's a word.
Well,
that's the word I would use. I got another word. I got a 4-letter word I would use.
Well, I was so excited about football. I didn't realize the kind of lackluster performance Trapillo and Braxton had. You pointed out that Trapillo got beat a couple times, and apparently it was enough to concern Ben Johnson and staff. The thing I've heard is no one has taken this job by the grabbed it by the reins and taken control of it. Yeah, nobody's taking control of the job. That's the concerning thing. And Theo Benedict, shout out to Theo Benedict. Good story, undrafted Canadian, was on Hard Knocks last year. Unfortunately, got hurt. I can't see any scenario where starting him at left tackle week 1 is a good scenario for us. I just can't.
Here's why I'm at with this. Our last episode, we was thinking, hey, they played great. No one's shot ahead of themselves. And now what we're hearing is that, they were pretty shitty. They were bad. Like, that's not what I saw. Now, I'm not going to compare my eyes to what the coach's eyes and what they see in practice, because we already said we ain't there at practice, right? We don't know what they see. We don't know what they doing in the doing film study and in the rooms. We don't know none of that, right? We just see what we see when they're on TV. And what I saw on TV wasn't bad. Braxton, I thought if we're going to grade them both, Trapillo looked better than Braxton, but Braxton was playing with ones and Trapillo was playing as twos. So you take it for what it is, right? I liked the I guess the mechanics from Trapillo more than what I saw out of Braxton. And some of that you have to put up, you write it off as like, yeah, Braxton's hurt. And also, but again, Braxton's never had the best mechanics. I mean, he's decent in mechanics. He's when he's not getting bull rushed, as you like to point out, when he's not having to stay in front of a guy, he's above average. The problem with Braxton is I think what most people say with Braxton, he's just not stronger. He's just not strong enough in his lower half. He doesn't have the ass. He doesn't have enough ass
not
power.
An ankle. Yeah,
to get to yes.
That's a new football term. Not enough ass power. He needs more ass power. I don't know if he can go to a BBL doctor and get more ass power. How does one achieve ass power? Is it repetitiously squatting?
You can't
discipline in squatting, or PEDs?
Yeah,
all the above.
All the above.
Listen,
we need to get you up to speed fast as possible. But unfortunately,
get the
with
PEDs,
the bum ankle,
don't get caught. I'm not against you taking PEDs. I'm just against you getting caught taking them. Do what you got to do.
Because then I gotta join in the yelling about you about being selfish. Yes, yes. Don't get caught. Unfortunately, Braxton, there's not enough time, and with a bum ankle, you can't really squat a lot, right? Can't really put a lot of load, on your body to get deep.
Can't get that good load
in, as they say.
Braxton needs a good load. Nothing else to say right there.
You said they were apparently they're bad. I don't necessarily think that though. I think it's Darnell, and let's bring him into this too.
I was
Remember earlier in the offseason.
I was definitely going to bring that up.
Offseason, right? There had been some floats out there. It had been floated out there that possibly that since they drafted a right tackle in the second round, maybe Darnell his spot might be up for grabs. And Ben emphatically said before they broke from the last minicamp, they said no. Darnell's etched in. He's good. We want people to know where they're going to be and focus on that going into training camp. We had that episode. I remember saying it. I could pull up the soundboard. Now, all of a sudden, that's where I think this comes from. I think Darnell pissed them off. And what the line coach has said, he struggles with his focus.
Conditioning
something around that.
Both of them.
Which are the two things as an athlete you control 100%. You control your focus 100%. You control your conditioning 100%. Everything else is outside of your control, right? But those two things you control the most. So him saying that, I think that is the reason we're having another discussion about who's playing tackle. A discussion that, in my opinion, we should not be having at this point in camp. If you're going to have a battle should be won by now. And we should be installing, everybody should be getting used to who they're playing next to. And we should be installing that type of repertoire with your brothers in arms. So I think this is all Darnell's fault. I don't think it's necessarily Braxton's fault. I don't think it's necessarily Ozzy's fault. I think this is all because, okay, we have a natural right tackle over here that's pretty decent. Darnell's pissing us off. Get on over there. Now they got Darnell playing some left tackle, and I think that's because, again, Braxton just ain't got it. He just ain't got it. And now this whole thing with Benedict, that's just some bullshit. I don't even want to believe that, bro. There's no way impossible.
So here's my theory on some of this. I like that the coaching staff gets on asses. We haven't seen this because under the last regime, and even with Poles, everything Darnell Wright did was just amazing and great. And he was so good at Tennessee. Boy, why wasn't he a top 3 pick? Me and you both have looked at Darnell Wright and said, we don't see elite right tackle. We don't see him getting there either. I feel the same way you feel. Darnell Wright is just a guy. I feel like he can become above average, but I don't see stud right tackle in the future. And I don't think other NFL teams and observers see it. I think the Darnell Wright narrative that he was going to be really good and we just kicked their ass in the trade, and we there was a good reason we didn't take. There was no good reason we didn't take Jalen Carter. Let's end that right now. I still see it from Bears fans every now and then. We needed offensive line. No, we flubbed passing on Jalen Carter. But yeah, the Darnell Wright thing is concerning. And back to what I was saying about the coaches being honest. I think they are honest, but I also think they're trying to light a fire under some asses. I don't think Nashawn Wright is taking Tyreek Stevenson's job. I think as long as I think that's Tyreek, you don't have no room for everything. You don't have no room for pre-snap penalties. You don't have no room for lapses of concentration, or that's your ass. I don't think Darnell Wright is
or fighting when they told you explicitly no fighting.
That part. I don't think Darnell Wright is right now in danger, but it's two things to be noted. I see he's more of a natural right tackle than he is a left tackle. I think putting him at left tackle is because you're trying to get the 5 best linemen out there, and they don't trust Braxton Jones. I don't think Ozzy's long-term 10-year trajectory is of left tackle. I think he'll be a guy that you want to replace too. If the Bears pick somewhere within the 15 to 25 range, they should be able to get that. The top left tackles are going to go top 5, top 10, but you should be able to get the secondary good franchise left tackles. I think that's the plan. So I think with Darnell messing up, that opened the door for the Bears to say, hey, Ozzy's a natural right tackle. If Darnell can't get his act together, Ozzy could be starting over there right tackle where he's more comfortable at anyways. So, yeah, I agree with you to the point of it's probably Darnell messing up is why we are in this situation. But regardless, it's concerning that both tackle spots are up for grabs. This is Friday evening. The Bears play a game in 2 days. There are no more games to be played in 8 days. You're just preparing for the Vikings. You would have wanted this left tackle spot wrapped up, especially the guys are going to be protecting your franchise quarterback. I wouldn't be too upset if, we're still fighting it out over TE1, TE2, or slot receiver. That's cool. Fighting it out over tackles this late in camp, not cool.
Especially with some guy, Theo Benedict, as you said, the Canadian Eagle.
Wasn't that guy in his draws last year? Why do I remember that?
This episode is brought to you by Buffalo Trace Distillery. Powerful yet smooth. Contained but never tame. Proudly going their own way, but never going alone. This is the spirit inside Buffalo Trace Bourbon. Made at Buffalo Trace Distillery, the world's most award-winning distillery. Buffalo Trace is always perfectly untamed. Distilled, aged, and bottled by Buffalo Trace Distillery, Franklin County, Kentucky. 90 proof, 45% alcohol by volume. Learn more at buffalotracedistillery.com. Please drink responsibly.
I was going to ask you to refresh my memory about why he was in his draws, but maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't need that.
I don't. Maybe. It was more that hard knock shenanigans. That's all it was, man.
Okay, I don't need my
cameras.
Yeah, I probably burned that out of my memory for a reason.
Now, here's the good thing about Theo Benedict. He's wowed some coaches. They say he's a hard worker. He picks up on things fast. He's consistent in his protection and hand usage. He's adapting to left tackle after primarily playing right tackle again, trying to make a right tackle to a left tackle. That is a theme with this team so far. He's the teacher pet right now. Here's my thing, though. He came into camp as the 4th string, right?
Behind Kyron Amagati, yeah.
Right. 4th string guys are on the cut list. Mm-hmm. He came into camp on the cut list. He was fighting for a job.
As he
Now
was
you're
last year.
in. Now
If
you're
he didn't
actually
get hurt last year and end up on IR, he might not have been on the Bears roster.
Now you want to tell me that he is in contention to win the job when he came into camp looking for a job. I don't buy any of that. I think all that's just posturing. And nothing from this coaching staff has told me that they are liars. They just be blowing smoke up people's ass, just be bullshitting, doing shit for the hell of it. I think there's a method to the madness, but I can't. No, there's no way I can believe this to be true. I can't believe it.
Either it's like when you messing up and you check your girl's social media and she done uploaded some actor or something that's not realistic for her. That's what this is. Or you just break up and then you get your little rebound chick or whatever, and you act like she's as good as your last, even though she's not. That's all Theo Benedict is. They're mad at their mains. They ain't doing right, so they done went far down the roster. What you doing? WYD, I miss you, that type of thing. I don't think Benedict is a legit. I hope he's not a legit candidate to start week 1. I know Jonathan Greener and Van Ginkel are hoping. I mean, they've got to be fighting to line up on that side of the field. If you're Minnesota Vikings camp right now, and you're Dallas Turner, and you're Van Ginkel, and you're Jonathan Greener, you're probably salivating right now. You probably are. You probably want a piece of that Canadian Eagle.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Buying a car shouldn't eat up your week. That's why Carvana made it convenient. Car buying that fits around your life, not the other way around. You can get pre-qualified for an auto loan in just a couple of minutes and browse thousands of quality car options, all within your terms, all online, all on your schedule. Turn car buying into a few clicks and not a full week's endeavor. Finance and buy your car at your convenience on
Carvana.
Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
All of this is as unbelievable as those pop up on your screen when you're scrolling the hub, and those pop ups say singles are in your area looking for you. I don't believe it.
Okay, you don't believe it, but have you ever clicked for confirmation?
No, I don't.
Hey, they could be. I mean, on my screen, it always shows mature women are looking for you. Maybe there's a good-looking BBL sugar mama on the other side of that click. I don't know. Somebody's got to check for confirmation. I don't do good with phones, so my phone might get a virus. I'm not doing it.
That's exactly me working in IT security. I'm definitely not clicking on that. The firmware, the spyware that comes from that, I don't need it. I'm not that horny. I don't need it.
You're full of shit.
That's Mama Tiff telling us to get back on track. This is the point of the training camp that's most important. This joint practice and this game against the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills, unlike the Miami Dolphins, the Buffalo Bills is a legit team, not just in the AFC East, but they are legit across the league. They have a real defense. They are really focused. They have the reigning MVP. Some people would say the best quarterback in the league.
I've heard
this is a
test.
test.
The best quarterback in the league before.
Yeah. So if you've heard me say that, then we're in the wrong multiverse. We got dropped off somewhere that ain't where we from. The police dropped us off in the ops hood because that ain't where we from. That ain't something I'll be saying. But I will recognize the argument for Mr. Josh Allen. Yeah, like I said, this is the real test. Now, neither one of us think the Bears are on the Bills level, right?
Not yet. I'll let it breathe. I want to see a month or two into the season. I think the Bills have had great sustained success, but every year there's one of those teams that dip off the map. Not saying they'll dip off the map because, like you said, Josh Allen I don't think he's the best quarterback, but I think he's an elite quarterback, and they still have a really good roster. I think there could be a little bit of dip from the Bills this year. This could be the year.
This is where the Bills is a measuring stick for me. That's where I want the Bears to be. Unlike what Carter Hawkins and Jed Hoyer are doing up north with the baby Bears, the Cubs. I would like to see the Bears become a perennial contender. And you only get that in the NFL if you have a top flight quarterback. I want that for Caleb. And that's what the Bills have. Even I thought when the Bills were going to fall off, Josh Allen said, "Surprise, bitch. I'm still here. And we still good as long as I'm here."
He put some on his back.
Yeah.
I mean, they losing
you can do that when you
Poyer and Diggs. I definitely thought a little fall off was going to happen, but he just put him right on his back.
Crazy how a good front office, good scouts, they know how to get rid of players that are falling off before you actually know they're falling off.
Yeah, they sent one to us. Ryan Bates for a draft pick.
Jesus, Ryan Bates. Yeah, he's been having a good camp. Don't get me bright ideas.
I'm not trying to hear anything about Ryan Bates. I'm not. I've heard
don't get any
him.
bright ideas.
Yeah, he'll be out there at left tackle. Please, no Ryan Bates.
Yeah,
no Ryan Bates info at all. Please.
I'm not interested in watching any game with Ryan Bates as a starting on our offensive line. No disrespect to Mr. Bates. You can't be a starter, not for the squad.
No.
Well, for the joint practice, it was, all things considered, it was a great atmosphere. And let me just get out and say it. The Bears didn't get their ass kicked. It was a pretty good back and forth type of practice between both teams. I already said that Caleb was having a great week, probably his best week of camp so far. And today, it wasn't negative. It wasn't as solid as previous practices this week, but it was a good practice. Nothing that you can say terrible. Now, I don't want to come back next week and say, you know what, that practice was ass. I don't want to hear reports from that because
I actually
don't stop doing
wanted
it.
to see the Bills media version of it, and they said Caleb was having a lot of success going to Rome. The Bears offense having success moving the ball, and the only time
no surprise to us, right?
Yeah, we called it. And the Bills defense did win in the red zone though, but the Bears and Caleb were moving the ball. I think they said the Bills run defense did well, but they said Caleb was he was carving them up towards the middle of the field and carving them up wrong. And Josh Allen struggled early in the joint practices before he got going. I think, I saw a highlight of Bird intercepted him again. Tremaine Edmonds intercepted him. And, the Bears defense, I guess, frustrated Josh Allen for a lot of the joint practice.
Caleb, reports I'm getting, he looked sharp in the 7-on-7 drills. He completed 4 out of 5 passes in one series and 5 in a row. In another series, he showed great chemistry, as you said, with Rome Odunze, which is no surprise to us. We called it. You definitely want to make sure you got him on your fantasy squad because I think Rome Odunze is going to be the breakout performer for all wide receivers this season. Rome Odunze caught a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Caleb also connected. He your boy, Zacchaeus. Caleb and Zacchaeus, they have a great chemistry. I don't know what Zacchaeus is going to factor in as far as when we get in season.
Yeah.
Wide receiver 2. I mean, not definitely not 2, but wide receiver 3, 4, whatever. But when he's on the field, I feel good because Caleb definitely likes him.
Yeah, I've liked Zacchaeus at his previous stops. He's always seemed like a reliable receiver. I like the depth we have. If something happens and Zacchaeus steps into 3, or if he starts the season number 3, I'm comfortable with it. He's the guy with good speed. He's a good route runner. He has dependable hands. So, yeah, I like Zacchaeus, and I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Tyler Scott. I don't see any way Tyler Scott makes this team.
And Tyler Scott's getting cut with Theo Benedict. Let's talk about some of the lows. The first set of 11-11 drills did not include media highlights as 7-on-7s did, but the offense stalled out in the late game scenario. They suffered a false start. We should come back to that. And Caleb took a sack. In the final move the ball drill, the starting offense had 2 more false starts, and Williams was also sacked from the blind side. Hello, left tackle. A significant concern. This joint practice was the pre-snap penalties. It's like they keep coming back and forth. They have one good day, two bad days with this thing. There's a high number of pre-snap penalties, false starts. They was all over. I think there was more like 7 false start penalties during the joint practice.
And I heard the Bills matched
one
too. I heard it was sloppy on both ends.
Which, doesn't make us look any better. Doesn't make us feel any better.
No.
Shit, we need the Bears to be better. One specific instance saw a false start by Darnell Wright and another by Theo Benedict in the situational period. All of our tackles suck.
Do you know if Theo was in with the first team when he made a mistake?
Theo Benedict, he received most of the first-time reps during this practice. He was initially, he saw most of them, which is weird. I don't understand. I don't like that. I really don't. I want the best man to play, obviously, but there's no way you can make me believe that the guy who came into camp on the bubble for a job is the best man at his job. If that's the case, Ryan Post, come back to the front of the room. We got to talk again, bro.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. You played offensive line. How are you so bad at recognizing good offensive linemen?
Did you hear him talking to the media? He was on, what was he on? And they kind of told around the question about him with the offensive line and does he show bias maybe because he played a position, is not able to see certain things. It does seem like Ryan Poles might have some bias. Like, I want to say he falls in love with guys that are like him. Hard workers, as you would call them, nerdy type.
Trash.
Okay, well, Ryan Poles in Bears camp in 2008, and we know he didn't make it. I don't think he saw a snap in preseason. He was in there with Matt Forte, and then he didn't get any more looks in the NFL. But yeah, I don't know how he's so bad at this. The thing about left tackle is it is a premier position in the NFL, and teams don't get fooled. It's one of the positions where teams don't usually guess wrong. When I say teams, I mean the 32 teams. You don't see a franchise Pro Bowl left tackle emerging out of somebody's 5th or 6th round. It doesn't happen. You see that at guard. You see that at center. You might see it at right. You don't see that. Out of all the starting left tackles, the left tackle is almost like quarterback. The vast majority in the league are first-round picks and top 12 picks. And the vast majority of Pro Bowl players are those top picks. The league isn't littered with guys going in the 4th, 5th round, 6th round, undrafted, starting at left tackle. Not as long-term solutions. So I don't see a possible path where I'm going to be happy or excited if Theo Benedict ends up starting. And Braxton Jones is a 5th round pick. Trapillo's a 2nd round pick. And as good as Braxton Jones has done, he's a great story. He reminds me he was a 5th round pick. Every single season, you see why he was a 5th round pick. And I don't mean that as disrespect. I'm just saying that it was never something where Braxton Jones could be your 10-year left tackle.
Nearly home. Isn't home where we all want to be? Reba here for Realtor.com, the pros' #1 most trusted app. A dream home isn't a dream home if it comes with a nightmare commute. That's why Realtor.com has Real Commute, so you can search by drive time. Download the Realtor.com app today, cause you're nearly home. Make it real with Realtor.com.
Pros' #1 most trusted app based on August 2024 proprietary survey.
All this is making me upset. Ben Johnson, he had spoke to media today. He had expressed some dissatisfaction with how the prolonged competition at left tackle was playing out. He said he was, quote unquote, not thrilled it has lingered this long, and he wants clarity from a player to make it clear that they are that guy.
Earlier in the summer, he said he'd like to have the left tackle situation solved shortly after training camp, like heading into the 2nd or 3rd week. So
It shouldn't take that long. You should want to have this thing solved halfway through training camp. We are more than we're damn near we're 2/3 of the way through training camp, because after this game we are focused. All of our sights is on Minnesota. So I'm expecting him to call a starter Monday. Monday, I need to hear who's the starting left tackle. No more. We're still figuring it out, because that means we're losing. I'm just gonna say it. If we haven't figured out our left tackle by Monday, by the time we start preparing for the Vikings, we're in the express lane to an L to start the season. I'm sorry. You can't play like that.
I need a guy to get all the first team reps. I need them. I'm
Exactly.
with you. I need somebody to be declared, because I don't think any three of these guys are good enough where they could be splitting reps. We need somebody getting all the reps. We need somebody being as prepared as they possibly can. At this point, you got to name someone. At this point, name someone. I don't want to see this competition drag on past Sunday night's game. I'm with you. Monday morning, I want somebody in there not splitting reps, getting all the first team reps, being ready for install with the rest.
Braxton Jones, that gave up a sack again the game against the Dolphins. He was beaten to the inside in the red zone against the second team defense. On Friday, he was at left tackle when Caleb Williams was sacked from his blind side. You can say the injury is still impacting his ability to be a proficient left tackle. I'm gonna say that's the reasons why he shouldn't be a first team. You should just go ahead and demote him all the way outright at this point. If you want to continue using the injury as an excuse, cool, fine. It can also be used as a reason to bench him.
It's August 15th. We are in the end game. as the famous Avenger said once, we're in the end game. We don't have no more time for playing around. A guy has to be named. If Braxton ain't healthy now, I don't know if he'll be healthy in 20 some odd days. Please go with Trapillo.
He ain't. And I'm glad you segued to Trapillo, because like I said, he was getting majority of the right tackle work. I don't know if you consider that a really demotion. I mean, you're still a starter. I mean, but it's more of a comfort spot for him, because I mean, he played all predominantly right tackle while he was in school. So, what the issue with him is not necessarily his focus. Shout out to Darnell Wright. Isn't necessarily his ability to play on the blind side. It's more so what they say is his foot speed,
and that's
in particular. He said he's big.
He's a big dude. You asking a lot for a guy to be able to mirror these elite. I mean, these edge rushers, they're becoming more athletic and more lean. Protecting a quarterback's blind side against guys who are 250, 255 and moving at 4.6 or faster, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot for a guy 6'8", 3-something, 330, 320. That's a lot to handle.
I watched the game against Miami. Well, at least I watched the first, second string twice. And I said he got beat twice in pass pro, and he had maybe one, you can call it a bad run blocking play, which I think that's a pretty decent game for me. And as far as the biggest issue concerning the Bears offense as a whole, the cadence issues, the pre-snap penalties, as you remember, the big thing with Ozzie coming into the draft is he don't get flagged. He's got what 4 or 5 in his whole collegiate career, something like that. It's his foot speed. They say he's thinking too much instead of just reacting. You're just knowing what to do. He's a rookie. I don't hold that against him. He's trying to learn a spot that it's not an easy transition to go from right to left. You got to be a dog to do it. And I'm not saying he's not a dog, because we all watch Game of Thrones. The Mountain is a dog.
So when you saw him get beat in pass pro, did you get the name of the Dolphin that beat him? Because that's important to me too. I mean, I don't want him getting beat, but was it a nondescript guy who's not going to get snapped? Who beat him?
That I did not key into. I had to go back and look into that one. And no, because he wasn't out. He was out there with one, so it couldn't have been no one nondescript. But I don't want to say it was Bradley. I'm thinking it might have been Mr. Chubb, but hey yo, but I don't want to automatically say it was Bradley Chubb that beat him.
Because I feel much better. I don't remember how many of the Dolphins defensive starters got snaps. But if it was Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb or Chop Robinson, I feel a lot better. Chop Robinson, I technically he's still a reserve, but he's last year's first round pick. So if you're getting beat by last year's first round pick, I'm going to feel a little bit relieved. If you're getting down on the depth chart and you're getting beat by guys who are going to be playing on special teams or on a practice squad, that ain't comforting at all. Not heading to the regular season in 20 some odd days.
Let's talk defense so we close this out with some type of, I guess, good news. The Bears defense, they had a good test today. Going up against the reigning MVP, Josh Allen. Nashawn Wright in the 707s, he was pretty disruptive. He nearly intercepted Josh Allen on 2 different occasions, but he did secure an interception during the 11-on-11s. That pick that he did get on 11-on-11s, that was called back due to holding. So I don't want to lie. I'm going to keep it a bang with you. Your boy Brisker, he was consistently on the ball. He nearly intercepted a couple of passes. He had broke up a bunch of them. Tremaine Edmonds, the former Bill, he wasn't. He had a good eye on him. We was watching him closely, making sure he wasn't giving the ops our low. He intercepted a pass against Josh Allen during the red zone drills. He was very competitive, is what the coaches were praising him for. He was leading the way for the linebacker corps. Javon Dexter, he created a lot of good pressure up the middle. He knocked down a ball in the air. The defense was flying around. They looked very good. Allen's, Udman's, and a bunch of the guys in the secondary handled their business. To your point where you said earlier in the show that it was an up and down practice for both Bills and the Bears, and it looks like we can thank the Bears defense for that.
Shamar Turner returned too. That's a good thing. I don't think he practiced, but he's back.
Well, you think he would fit into all this when he is back, caught up to speed?
Definitely, he's going to get some snaps, but I think the Bears' interior line is pretty much setting the rotation. Dexter, Grady, and you're going to see a lot of Billings. So a depth piece. And I think Chris Williams has played well whenever the Bears are called on him too. So I think Shamar Turner will have a role, but I don't think early going he'll be seeing more than 10, 15 snaps.
The injuries for today: Case Keenum, Doug Kramer, Roshan, Amin, Travis Homer, Taysheem Johnson, and Kyler Gordon, along with Jalen Johnson. They were all missing in action for today's practice.
Roshan is in big trouble.
But I think, in conclusion, there's a lot of good to take from this joint practice. I mean, there's three facets to any football game. You got the special teams. The special teams hasn't been bad all camp. We haven't had any issues or any concerns with that. We don't know when muffin punts. Shout out to Velas, another Ryan Poles favorite. Right. The defense has been good. The offense has been a work in progress, which I do want to temper everybody. The Bears hired Ben Johnson with the understanding that he is a sort of a whiz kid on offense, right? He's coming with the complexity. Do you think it's easy to learn a complex offense in 6 weeks? No, you shouldn't think that. Especially, right? It definitely shouldn't be. Football is not easy. You remember when the Bears hired Mike Martz? You remember that complex offense? Yeah. They never got it. And I think a lot of that is because we had a terrible quarterback. Jay Cutler was the quarterback, I think. Bum.
It was definitely
big bum. Yeah, bum. I knew it was a bum back there. Yeah. It was his fault. It wasn't the offense's fault. The Bears just didn't have a quarterback who was good enough to pick up the offense. In any case, they do have a quarterback good enough to pick up the offense this time. He's a young quarterback. It's going to take them some time to ramp it up, all right? There is no point in hiring somebody who had an offense that was easy to learn. No one should want that. It's a work in progress. Give it some time. Lay off the guys, okay? It's not going to be a quick fix. If you thought it was a quick fix, then I'm gonna keep it a bean with you, bro. You don't know shit.
Fair evaluation.
I don't think Ben Johnson said how long they're playing. Have you heard?
No, he just said they're playing. I would assume at least 2 series, maybe 3. So maybe a quarter.
That's it?
Yeah. I mean, teams don't play their starters long in the preseason anymore. Have you seen any starters thus far go into beyond the first quarter?
No, but I would think I was thinking that they might be out there for a full half.
That would be super throwback. Ben Johnson has ran a very physical camp, so it wouldn't surprise me, because one of the big surprises from many observers of Ben Johnson is, like you said, he's an offensive whiz kid. Usually the offensive whiz kids don't tend to have much physicality. They don't bring that approach. But he's brought the approach like he's, a grizzled defensive coordinator, or Mike Ditka, or, Dave Wannstedt, guys coming from special teams, the defensive background. So would it surprise me to play at a half? I would be mildly shocked, but it would kind of fit with the theme of the camp. I'm still gonna go with 2 or 3 series, especially if the 2 or 3 series are efficient. I think it also could be a, how do you look? If you go 3 and out the first drive and then struggle to get any momentum the second drive, you could be out there longer.
Hey there, travelers. Kaylee Cuoco here. Sorry to interrupt your music, great artist BT Dubs, but wouldn't you rather be there to hear it live? With Priceline, you can get out of your dreams and into your dream concert. They've got millions of travel deals to get you to that festival, gig, rave, soundbath, or sonic experience you've been dreaming of. Download the Priceline app today, and you can save up to 60% off hotels and up to 50% off flights. So don't just dream about that trip. Book it with Priceline.
Go to your happy price, Priceline.
That wouldn't shock me either. It's a to be determined type of thing. What you said is spot on. It's been a physical camp. The Bears were in pads once earlier this week. They obviously have the joint today, which is half padded. But with the Bears playing Sunday night, that gives them the leeway to play the starters. And that gets me to roll it back a little bit. They probably won't be out there for a full half. They probably do a quarter, a couple of series based on how people are progressing. And I take everything Ben says at face value until he shows me otherwise. It's all about reps for these guys, and the reps are going to be key. So if he doesn't like the reps that the first team gets in the first series, you expect to see him out there second series, and go on and so forth. But if you see him out there in the second quarter, I'm not going to be mad at it. Just come on, left tackles, don't get nobody hurt.
Please don't get anybody hurt. Please stay in front of that Buffalo Bills pass rush.
As Tiff would say, don't be.
You're full of shit.
Thanks for listening to this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan Channel. Don't matter if you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or watch it on Twitch or YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And to all the guys from Chicago, we say 3 things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.